In this episode, you will hear the watch commander of the Saanich Police, Staff Sergeant Smith, announce that he is the arbiter of who responds to a subpoena and who does not. And he also thinks he can dictate who you can or can't subpoena, and also what evidence or what witnesses are relevant to your case. Wow, Staff Sergeant Smith is a very important person, wouldn't you say?
Hey everyone, welcome back to Documenting and Exposing the West Shore RCMP. This is part 11. So with my criminal trial coming up, I've subpoenaed some police officers as witnesses for my defense. And one of those witnesses that I've subpoenaed is Colby McIntyre from the Saanich Police. You may remember in episode 6 of the Fundamental Freedoms Evaluation series, him and I had a very cordial conversation. He even told me it was a pleasure speaking with me. He thanked me for being civil with him. And this just happens to completely contradict the statements that the watch commander from the West Shore RCMP, Arun Kundu-Thomsen, had wrote about me in his report to Crown Counsel. Won't be getting into Arun Kundu-Thomsen's false and misleading statements to prosecutors in this video, but we'll have to save Arun Kundu-Thomsen's "the sky is falling" story for another video. Poor little fella. So if you're ever a self-represented accused facing a criminal prosecution by police officers that lie on their statements and intentionally mislead prosecutors so they can get charges approved against you, so that they can use our courts and justice system as a weapon to teach you a lesson, you could potentially use police officers that don't lie, don't fabricate criminal offenses, that act reasonably as a witness in your defense, like what I'm going to attempt to do here. So upon receiving the subpoena, Colby McIntyre's boss, the watch commander, or one of the watch commanders at the Saanich Police Department, is Staff Sergeant Paul Smith. And he left the following voicemail on my phone. Here it is.
New message 11:43 sent by 25047543221.
Hi, this is a message for Dan. It's Staff Sergeant Paul Smith from the Saanich Police Department calling. I just received a subpoena recently for Colby McIntyre, one of the guys who works underneath me on my shift here, for a trial. Looks like at the Western Communities Courthouse in September. Just wanted to advise you that he is not available for that court case. He is on annual leave that's been booked for some time, so he will not be attending that court date. Now, if you need him as a witness, you can always try to adjourn the trial for later in the year or next year when he's available, but there is quite a bit of time that our officers are booked off for court throughout the year due to pre-selected holidays, and this is one of those times when Kobe is off. If you have any questions, give me a call, 250-475-4321, and ask for Staff Sergeant Paul Smith. Thank you.
Huh, what a nice fella. He just called to let me know that the properly subpoenaed police officer isn't going to be there. Oh, okay. So I found this very odd because a properly subpoenaed witness to a criminal trial doesn't have the option to make or have someone else make a phone call for them to say that, well, we're not going to be there. Sorry. So if you want us to be there, you need to have your matter adjourned to some other time when they're available. Now, this is very odd. Can you imagine getting served a subpoena to be a witness at a criminal trial and you're just like, oh, hey, I'm going to call this person that subpoenaed me and tell them that, yeah, I'm not going to make it. You can, you're going to have to go on without me. Sorry. Right. Because that's how subpoenas work, right? If you're not available, you just call the person that subpoenaed you and say, hey, I'm not available. Sorry. Right. That's how it works. So he was nice enough to say at the end there that if I have any questions, I can give him a call. Well, That I do have questions. I'm wondering how in the hell a police officer can decide that their properly subpoenaed staff can just, wave off a subpoena to a criminal trial. No thanks. Yeah, I don't think so. That's not how it works. So I decided to call the watch commander, Staff Sergeant Paul Smith at the Saanich Police back. So one of the things I like to do when I get phone calls like this or messages like this is I like to call them back, because I want to see if they're, I like to test them to see if they're telling the truth. Are they being honest? Is this really? And I want to also test his knowledge of how the court works and how criminal procedure works, because I know personally that you can't just call someone who properly subpoenaed you to a criminal trial and just say, oh yeah, I'm not going to be there. Sorry. You can't do that. So if you want to do that, what you have to do is you have to apply to the courts to have that subpoena quashed, meaning it's invalid. And the way you go about that is you go to the court registry, fill out a form called Application to a Judge, and you fill out that form asking to have a hearing in court about whether or not the subpoena is going to be legitimate or if it's going to be quashed and invalid. And this can only be determined in court at a hearing in front of a judge. So if you get properly subpoenaed to a criminal trial and you don't want to go, or you don't feel like going, or whatever the deal is, you have to go about it the proper way. You have to get a order from a judge to quash that subpoena. That's the only way you're going to get out of a subpoena. So let's call Staff Sergeant Paul Smith at the Saanich Police back, and let's see if he is lying. Let's see if he's telling the truth. Let's see how well he knows proper court procedure and criminal process. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. let's give him a call and see what he says. Now, I am going to pause this phone call, and I am going to jump in and say some things, so just expect that. But here's the call.
Saanich Police Switchboard.
Hi, good morning. I'm returning a call for Staff Sergeant Smith.
Oh, okay, let me transfer you down. Just one moment.
Thank you.
Watch Commander Paul Smith.
Hey, Sarge, how you doing?
Good. Who's this?
It's Dan.
Who is it?
Dan?
Dan who?
Dan.
Dan? Am I supposed to know Dan?
I'm returning your call from yesterday.
Oh, not me. Who are you looking for?
Did you hear the tone in his voice? Huh? Not me. Who are you looking for? He's terrified. He did not expect me to call him back. And he's finally realizing right now, uh-oh, he called me back. Oh, it's that guy that called me back. Uh-oh, what am I going to say to this guy? Uh-oh, not me. Who are you looking for? Staff Sergeant Paul Smith?
Oh, yeah, no, sorry, about Kobe McIntyre.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, right about Colby McIntyre. Right, that phone call yesterday. Right. Oh, okay. I guess I can't get out of this. Right. Okay.
You need to fill me in on this stuff. I got a lot of stuff going on. So you got my message.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
About Kobe.
Yeah.
When our members are subpoenaed, they usually come through me for a lent form, right? So because guys have holidays and stuff like that. And Kobe is off on holidays. That's been pre-booked for quite a while. So I don't know if you want to adjourn your court case if you need him there, but that's kind of an option for you.
Oh, when is he back?
He is.
So you can hear him say, Colby's not going to be there because he's got this time booked off for, he's had it booked off for a while. So if you want him there, you're going to have to adjourn your matter until he gets back. Well, that's nice of him, isn't it?
So the middle of October is when he comes back.
Okay. The main reason why I'm calling you today, sir, is just to let you know that you called the wrong person.
Called the wrong person? That's the number that's on the subpoena, so that's all I have have, Dan?
Oh no, that's the right number. What I'm saying is I have a statement of service.
You have okay. Well, whether they serve it or not doesn't really matter, right? They can serve it all they want until he signs off on it. It doesn't. I'm giving you I didn't even really have to call you, is what I'm telling you. I'm calling you out of good faith to let you know that he's not going to be there. He has nothing to do with your trial either. I've read the file. It has nothing to do with our department. So there's absolutely no onus on him to attend. He's a civilian witness. Is all he is, right? So I'm doing you a solid by calling you to tell you that he's not able to attend.
Oh, well, it's definitely changed his tune here in just a few seconds. First it was he's not going to be there because he has vacation. And if you want him to be there, you're going to have to adjourn your trial. Now he says, well, whether they serve it or not doesn't really matter, right? They can serve it all they want until he signs off on it. And then he stops speaking and just loses his mind. I didn't even have to call you. I'm calling you out of good faith to let you know he's not going to be there. He has nothing to do with your trial. I've read the file, and it has nothing to do with our department. I'm doing you a solid by calling you and telling you he's not able to attend. Screw subpoenas. Screw the courts and the justice system and proper criminal procedures. Okay, you're actually, like I said, you're telling this to the wrong person because I have a statement of service. So if he's not available or he doesn't want to show up or whatever the deal is, you guys don't want to deal with it or whatever. What you're supposed to do is fill out a court form called application to a judge, and you have to go through the proper means that way. I don't have the authority to relieve anybody of their obligations to the court once they've been subpoenaed, unfortunately.
Do you work for the courthouse? Is that what you're telling me?
No. And I've explained the process of quashing a subpoena so eloquently that he's so confused now. Now he's like, do you work for the courthouse? Is that what you're saying? It's funny. I was actually a little flattered when he said that. I was like, damn, I'm good.
But so you're the person who's subpoenaed him, right?
Correct, sir.
Okay. So the application of service, it's been served at the front counter at the police department. It was never served on Kobe.
Yeah, it was served on our front counter. It was never served on Colby. Well, that's funny because I have a statement of service from the BC Sheriff saying it was served. And because I have a statement of service, it was properly served. I have a statement of service, so...
You have a statement of service on our front counter officer is what I'm telling you. So until our officers sign a lens form saying that they're available for court, there's no obligation for them to attend whatsoever.
Yeah, if my officers don't agree to show up to court once they've been subpoenaed, then they have no obligation to show up to court. That's how the criminal justice system works, right?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. There will be no application for any kind of non-attendance or whatever you're calling
it. There'll be no application for non-attendance or whatever you're calling it.
He is a civilian witness that you've called, and he's unavailable for court. So what I'm telling you is if you need him as a witness, you will have to have your court case adjourned because he will not be there.
Oh, here we go. He's reverting back to, he's not going to be there because he's on vacation. Well, he just said, I read the file and he has nothing to do with it, with our department. So now he's going back to the old, he won't be here. Yeah. Okay, well, that's fair enough. I'm just letting you know that when I call him and he doesn't come forward, it's going to be up to the judge to decide what to do then. Because I have a statement of service. I don't have any authority to relieve anybody of their obligations to the court once they've been subpoenaed. So you're contacting the wrong person. What you should do, as I said, the proper way to do it is to fill out a form at the courthouse. It's called application to a judge, and you'll have to go through the proper means that way. I have no authority to relieve anybody of their legal obligations once they've been subpoenaed, sir.
No, I'll follow up with the courthouse for sure, but you can't go subpoenaing people that have absolutely nothing to do with your court case.
I'll follow up with the courthouse, but you can't go subpoenaing people that had absolutely nothing to do with your court case. You don't know anything about this, sir. You have no reason to comment.
And he tells me what his relationship with you is.
Sir,
Okay, so
can I speak? Sir, can I speak? Sir, can I speak?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You have nothing to say about this matter? You know absolutely nothing about it? I don't know why you're giving me your opinion on it because you have nothing to do with this, sir. So keep your opinion to yourself. follow the proper court procedure. If he's not there when I call his name, it'll be up to the judge to do what the judge normally does when people do not show up when they are properly subpoenaed, sir. And that would be issue a warrant for their arrest.
Okay, well, I appreciate your comments on that, but I will make sure that Kobe, next time you try to subpoena Kobe for this, unless you have a valid reason to call
The
him.
valid reason is not has nothing to do with your opinion, sir.
It is.
It has nothing to. You have nothing to do with this, sir.
Nothing to do with that criminal trial that he's been.
You personally have your opinion does not matter in this.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
It does.
We're going to have a difference of opinion here, so I'm not going to talk to you any further. I'll follow up with the court host, but he will not be there on your court date, is what I'm telling you. Okay.
And I'm telling you.
Follow up from the court side of things and make sure that they understand that as well. You have a nice day. Bye bye.
Wow. I'll follow up on the court side of things and make sure that they understand that as well. Right, like a police officer can just call up the court registry and tell them to abandon the laws, abandon the rights of an accused, abandon the entire proper criminal justice procedure. Just abandon it all for us, because we don't have time for this. My police officer privileges allow me to completely subvert the criminal justice system. And then, of course, he runs out of ideas. He runs out of excuses. He knows he's got nothing. And like a coward, he hangs up. So there we go. The Staff Sergeant, Watch Commander Paul Smith at the Saanich Police Department has now been exposed as a liar and an ignorant moron. So at that point, I thought it would be best to call Colby McIntyre's, well, I guess if he's not available, I guess I'll just leave a message on his voicemail. So I called him to leave him a message on his voicemail and see if we could work something out reasonably between the two of us, because I know he's a reasonable person. His boss certainly isn't, but I believe I'm a reasonable person, and I believe that Colby McIntyre is a reasonable person, and I believe we can work something out. So I left this message on his voicemail. Here it is.
Good afternoon, Saanich Police Switchboard.
Hi, sir. Could you transfer me over to the voicemail for Colby McIntyre?
Just a moment.
Thank you.
Constable McIntyre, Saanich Police Department.
Hi, sir. It's Dan. I'm calling in regards to your subpoena to the criminal trial in September. I've been advised that you're not able to make it. From what I gather, your boss, Staff Sergeant Paul Smith, has taken it upon himself to get personally involved, and he read a file that contains about 10% truth, and he's made a legal determination that you're not required to attend. Unfortunately, I don't have the authority to relieve anyone of their legal obligations to the courts when properly subpoenaed. That is, of course, unless we can speak, perhaps over the phone, and work something out, which may not require you to be there at all and would essentially void your subpoena. If you can call the number on the subpoena, I'd be more than willing to work something out with you. And just a heads up, when I spoke to your boss yesterday, he revealed to me that he does not know the proper legal process with regards to being subpoenaed and not showing up. Be very careful here. Your boss is in fact an ignorant moron and a documented liar. So I strongly suggest you get another opinion on that. I don't want to see you get in trouble, sir. You're one of the most cordial and kindest police officers I've ever met. Cheers. Well, that's how that went. So, it's funny because as I'm going through all this at that time, there's always little doubts popping up in my mind. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this, or maybe I'm not doing this right, or maybe I could be doing this better, or maybe I should just hire a lawyer. And there's when you go through something like this, there's always going to be little doubts in your mind. And when I recorded this phone call with Staff Sergeant Paul Smith of the Saanich Police Department, when I went back to listen to that phone call for the first time, it was very reassuring to me that, yes, I should be doing this. And yes, this is what needs to be done. And the further I get into this, the more crazy it gets. We've as you've just heard, a staff sergeant, a watch commander of an entire municipal police force, doesn't know proper court procedures. He thinks he can just call up a person who subpoenaed one of his police officers and just say, "Oh, we're not going to make it," and then he somehow, after explaining the proper procedure to get out of it to him, he then says to me that, "Well, I'll follow up with the courthouse and make sure they understand." Like, you can't make this stuff up. Like this is why beauticians go through 4 to 5 or 6 years of school and training, and police officers only take 6 months. So you can, the proof is in the pudding here with Watch Commander Staff Sergeant Paul Smith of the Saanich Police. He's definitely a product of 6 months of training. And it's because of police officers like Staff Sergeant Paul Smith of the Saanich Police that I make these videos and I document my interactions with police and I expose them on YouTube. This is exactly why I do it. Can you imagine if I didn't record this phone call?